call this meeting of the Carson City Historic Resources Commission for Monday, July 24th, 2023 at the Bob Crowell Boardroom to order. Can you call the roll, Danielle?
Chairperson Drews. Oh.
Here.
Vice Chair Schmitter.
Here.
Commissioner Block.
Here.
Commissioner Darney. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Spielda. Commissioner Wright.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you, Danielle. Next item is public notice. Any of the members of the public who wish to speak at the meeting can do so at this time, or they can wait till the item is announced and speak during the agenda. Is there any public comment? Sure. Yeah. You need to introduce yourself for the record.
For the record, Darren Berger. Hi, everybody. I'm just here to apologize for the last-minute nature of pulling my agenda item, and I look forward to talking with you guys at the next meeting, but sincerely apologize.
Not a problem, Darren. Thanks for, we'd rather have a complete packet than go through it anyway, so thank you. Next item is for possible action. We have approval of minutes from the March 9th, 2022 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review those? I have a motion.
So moved.
Second? Motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved unanimously. First item is 5A, HRC-2023-0224 for possible action, discussion, and possible action regarding a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors for a request from Jeffrey K. Sullivan and Julie E. Howes, applicants, for a historic tax deferment on properties owned residential office, RO, located at 308 North Nevada Street, Assessor's Parcel Number APN 003-227-03. Hope?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request for a tax deferment consistent with Carson City Municipal Code 21.02.020. The subject property currently has a tax deferment. The request is due to a change of ownership. When you consider deferments, you consider if the property has significance or is listed in one of the historic surveys, if the property is in good repair, if any alterations have been made that are and to ensure they're compatible with the historical character, and the property must be in compliance with the HRC guidelines. The staff report reviews all four of these criteria and recommends that you recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Hope. Any questions of Hope on this item?
I have a question. Being in the last recent meetings when I got my tax deferment, we were only doing the historic property portion. And this at 308 North Nevada Street has a two-story rear building that's an apartment building. And I don't know if that fits in with the square footage for the tax deferment.
You're correct that in the past you have looked at the buildings that comprise the property. And if there are improvements, say somebody built a garage in 1985, you have said, yeah, the garage is not part of the tax deferment. So if your recommendation is that a building that's in the rear not be considered as part of the tax deferment, then the motion would be a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors for, I would say, it looks like there's two buildings, so for the primary residence only.
Any other questions, comments?
Yes, but I have to go ahead and do this. Okay, may I speak? And then what, does the assessor then have to, like, split the property and assess it into different pieces?
To a certain extent, yes and no. What the assessor does when you go to the assessor's page is they list the different structures. So they'll say, you know, building A, and they'll identify what that is. Say it's a residence, I don't know if it's A, B, or 1, 2. Building 2 is a garage. Then they might have like the site work, a patio, something like that. So they're already breaking it down when they're doing the assessment to determine the pieces that comprise the whole. So we have done this on other ones where there's been other buildings added later that aren't contributing buildings.
Okay, and did the prior deferment on this property isolate the apartments?
Probably not, because it's relatively recent that this commission has started looking at it through that lens.
Thanks.
I have a comment then. I know that that was a suggestion or recommendation from the tax group that we do that. But in this case, if they break it down into other subparts, then we would need to include the primary residence, but also the setting and the fence and the sort of the yard of the property, because they're also maintaining that setting that goes along with the residence.
So rather than a limitation, you could do an exclusion if you believe the rear building doesn't contribute.
Okay.
Mike, I have a comment. I think previously the assessor actually in one of the letters broke it out, told us which part would be in the deferment, but this time they didn't do that, or she didn't do that, correct?
I think the assessor just transmits the request. I've never seen where the assessor has recommended something.
Yeah, I remember us excluding a portion, but
Right.
not under direction of by direction of the assessor. Any other questions or comments? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move that we, where is that language? Accept the application to defer, but exclude the rear building that is apartments.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second?
Motion and a second, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, O. Next, item 5B has been continued at the request of the applicant, so we won't hear that. Item 6, staff reports. Hope.
Sorry, I have no staff report. It was a little last minute that Heather couldn't make the meeting, so I didn't get a briefing on that.
I have a quick question on that. Did you hear anything about the scavenger hunt or how that turned out?
I did not, but I can ask Heather to send out an email to you on that.
Okay.
I have a question. Maybe, I don't know what happened, but a couple doors down on Mountain Street, Mountain and King, someone had erected a shed, and then I saw them taking it down. Was that because of us?
You mean that sort of looked like maybe it was going to be a little greenhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why it's been sitting there for 2 years, partly built.
Well, they built it in a couple weekends, and then all of a sudden they painted it and took it down. So I don't know if that was one of us or what happened.
I'm not familiar with that, but where is it on King? King and Mountain outbuilding was erected and removed.
It's the northwest corner.
The school's on the
Ish.
east side.
It's,
Is it towards the junior high or towards the Capitol? Okay, so it's on the.
but that's
the
not
northeast side.
actually. I think that is. Yeah, is it not?
Um,
It is.
I can't remember if it goes, how far it goes past Musser on
It-
Mountain.
It may not have been an issue with the historic district. It may have just been an issue with the construction itself.
Yeah, they were missing 3 bolts.
But we can check. I will mention that we will likely have to have a special meeting. Your next meeting would typically be in September, but we are anticipating that RCI is going to be ready with their plans prior to that. So we'd like to pull together a special meeting once they're ready so that we don't delay their review.
Okay, and just so the commission knows, Lou and I will abstain on that, on an RCI item, so encourage everybody to make themselves available. Any other staff? Go ahead.
At 310 West Spear Street, the Wombleys came and they cleaned up the yard. The thistles were this high in the front yard. Walt still hasn't done anything at 305 Spear Street. And coincidentally, they got a Historic Preservation Award in 1972. Yeah. And then the weeds at Division and Robinson finally got cut down. I think that's on Code Enforcement's annual list.
I will mention that we have, for probably the last 30 days, been doing proactive code enforcement in the redevelopment area in the historic district.
And then, so the Ferris House is still looking bad. But can we get an update or make a note for Heather on the progress that the Brewery Arts Center is going to do on the old church? Seems like we tell people to do things and they say, okay. I think that's about it. And one thing that was curious to me, the Bobby Benson's house over there on 4th and Division Street, I found an article where her deceased husband, Jan, pulled the aluminum siding off of it in the 70s and restored the original siding that's on there now.
Any other commission member questions or reports?
I have a question and a comment. So are we still members of the National Alliance for?
Yes, and the next meeting, the next conference is in Palm Beach.
Right on.
I'll get the date for you guys.
Okay, could you make sure that we all have, that all of our emails are on, that we're receiving emails from them? Because they just published a messaging guide, and I got to it from a different news group,
Okay.
and it's really good, actually.
What Michelle's referencing, just for everybody's benefit, is the National Alliance of
Preservation
Commissions. And so Mike and I and Michelle and I have been to conferences. They have a conference every 2 years, but during COVID, it was supposed to be in Tacoma, and they canceled it. It was only virtual. And what we're able to do is obtain funding through the Park Service, basically, the Historic Preservation Fund. And our time at the conference counts as our match. And so it's really a great conference because everyone attending is either on a preservation commission or they staff a preservation commission. And so the issues and the topics discussed are the exact topics and issues that you all deal with every day. And so I encourage everyone to attend if you can. And the grant will pay for the travel, the hotel, meals, everything. It's just your time that we need. And like I said, the next one, I think it was Palm Beach. It might be West Palm Beach, but I think it was Palm Beach. So I'll get the dates to all of you, and I'll double check how our subscription's being circulated. I think we only have a single subscription, so it may be that our secretary has to distribute the information to you.
Okay, because I was looking at that, and it sounds like it goes by the size of the town we live in. So we're 50,000 and over. I think it's like 150, but we should all be getting emails from them because they have training as well. Anyhow, this messaging guide, I can circulate the link or I can send it to Heather.
Do you know what time of year the meeting usually is?
What I'll do is I'll send out an email to everybody to let you know, because I looked it up recently. I was like, when's our next conference? And I saw where it was. I was like, oh, cool. That would be great. So yeah, I will send you all the information so you can get on your calendar early, and then we'll go after the money.
Any other commission member reports, questions? Hearing none, is there any public comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 5:45.